Good evening, everybody. I'm Marty Owings. It's Tuesday, January 29, 2013, and this is Capital Conversations. This is your capital update for the week. This week, the governor's budget continues to get reaction from the GOP and DFL. Some on the DFL are more lukewarm this week than they were last week on the governor's budget proposal, especially as they hear from constituents who are asking about tax on clothing, the business-to-business taxes, and some things that are a little bit more controversial in the governor's budget. Of course, the GOP continues to sharpen its attacks against the governor and his budget, against his budget in particular, as they talk about those same issues that they hear about from their constituents. Joining us tonight on the update is longtime legislator, Representative Jim Aebler, who's, what term? Eighth?
Eighth term,
yeah.
14 years and a month, but who's counting?
Well, that's good. So you're pretty long tenured now.
How about that? Who would have thought?
You've seen a lot of guys come and go up.
My mom's proud.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, a lot of good friends have gone.
Yes.
New ones have come.
That's right.
Like Mark Twain.
Yeah, like
friends you haven't met yet.
Yeah, right, friends you haven't met. Well, anyway, Representative Aebler, the last 2 years chaired the Health and Human Services Committee and was part of the group that tried to balance the budget on the health and human services and reduce spending and things like those. Some more controversial than others, but
Sure.
Here we are. And we find ourselves now, the game has changed. Now the Democrats are in charge. But Representative Aebler, to your credit, still on the committee. The Democrats invited you back. It's your area, one of your areas of expertise. Chiropractor by trade.
Yes.
Yes. And so tell me a little bit about some of the feedback we're hearing about the healthcare exchanges, why it's important in Minnesota, get it done by the middle of March, all that stuff.
Well, it has to, otherwise the feds will give us a federal one, which we don't even know what it's going to look like, the federal one. But we figure that it's better to have a Minnesota version so that we can control our own destiny. Representative David suggested it's better to call 651 than area code 202 for help. And so that's kind of the theme. You've been here long enough to know that themes don't get you to content, but that theme is what's carrying the desire for a Minnesota exchange forward. A lot of people still argue that we don't need one, it's a waste of money, it's a big expansion. Sadly for the people who keep saying that, which includes me, is that the Supreme Court ruled and we had an election and the American people said, no, we're keeping it just the way it is. And so as a practical, pragmatic person, it's like, well, let's make this the best it can be to cause the best benefit with least amount of harm. And,
well, can you tell people, Representative Aebler, just about what the healthcare exchange is about? What's its fundamental reason for existence?
Yeah, sure. It was meant to be a good idea to help people access health care. It's going to subsidize, create discounts for insurance for people who qualify up to certain pretty good income limits, up in the mid-80,000.
Competitive, right? The different insurance companies have to buy
you can
for
pick, you can go and, like Expedia, you can go online and pick your exchange, your health policy. It's going to cover a couple 100,000 people who aren't now covered at a great cost by the feds. By the way, the feds believe in that money can rain out of heaven. So using this they're converting rain into health insurance.
Might be an editorial comment. Extemporaneously, I'm just, well, you are a lawmaker, so.
Oh, that's right. But so, and there's a lot of details about how that could work. It could go very well or go very, very bad.
Okay.
And so what it's supposed to do is drive competition, drive quality, drive access. It's mostly going to drive access. Right. Maybe it can drive competition, maybe it can drive quality.
Yeah. So you've got this healthcare exchange. Now, some people are suggesting that GOP side are contending it might be controversial because it won't have proper government oversight. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm assuming these are talking points or spin by the Republicans because nothing's been firmed up yet, right? So
right, well, there was a bill introduced that was actually not a very good bill.
House File 5?
House File 5, Senate File 1. Mm-hmm. And it's going through the process. There's improvements. There's many improvements to be made.
I read the bill.
Did you?
I couldn't make heads or tails of what they were saying in there, really.
Yeah.
It was a lot of jargon.
Well, now you've read a bill that's not very good. So that's an example of not a very good bill. And so me coming on board, I wouldn't have voted for that bill, actually.
Right.
But I signed on as a co-author to try to work in the system to make it better. And you talked about stigmas of different parties. Republicans actually want things to work. We actually know how to collaborate. We're focused on outcome and mission. and as are the Democrats on this matter. And on a good day, we can collaborate, bringing the business interests along with Take Action in Minnesota. bringing along the business, the Chamber of Commerce, along with AARP, trying to get a product that will do what it's supposed to do, but actually works. That's my goal, and I'm seeing some fruit, but this is a very, very hard project. Lots of groups to bring in together to get a consensus.
And it's on an accelerated timeline. You have to be done by March, right?
Right, and the feds require it by the 30th or whatever, 31st of March, to be in law signed. But then there's this Passover Easter break, so it's actually even 10 days earlier. So
Less than that.
we work well under pressure.
So were you in the caucus meeting that the governor came to?
I was, yeah.
Tell us, give us the inside, give people an insight, know what it was like.
Well, you know,
Governor doesn't always come talk to the GOP caucus, does
well,
he?
no. In fact, the night before, I was reading Twitter, and they said, "Oh, he's coming to your caucus." Like nobody knew he was coming to our caucus. Like, really? I didn't know that. And the leadership, we don't. Maybe meeting with Leader Dowd, but so here, whatever it was, 7 o'clock, 6:30, he's showing up, and pretty good crowd. Probably 2/3 of the Republicans were there. They were very polite, and he was just convinced that his bill was the way to a better Minnesota, which I think is even a slogan.
Yeah.
And he stood up here and defended every point. And they threw a few questions, and he fielded the questions. And I don't think he persuaded one person.
Yeah.
But I give him credit for standing up. And somebody said, "Well, we're being kind of rough on you, Governor, aren't we? We're sorry for the hard questions." He said, "I used to be a hockey goalie. I'm used to the pucks coming at me from the front." But I think what it creates is a bit of his interest in reaching out and developing human relations with the GOP,
Yeah.
which has been something that you've seen erode. I've seen it erode in my little 14
Sure.
years and 20 years.
course.
It's eroded markedly. And so if you know a person, maybe you can understand his point of view. If you don't,
Yeah.
if you kind of like him and know something about his background,
Well, I see you doing
Maybe I
that.
can
You're
talk.
always walking across the aisles talking to different folks.
yeah,
Yeah. Do you
And
find it makes you a better lawmaker?
it makes me a better person. But then I understand the people. And in this world, especially in the minority, you've got to reach out. But even in the majority, every member of my committee held my gavel for an area that they were expert in to run a meeting.
Yeah.
And I think that was productive. And I think it kept the rhetoric down, focused on the product. And at the end, our last committee meeting that we had, the very last one, the audience applauded the sign of civility that they had seen and the focus on effort. And so for the first time, maybe in a while, human service was focused on the needs of the people and the budget issues and not on any politics. So I was pretty happy about
Well,
that.
I don't know.
Maybe it
How
can
does
work.
that happen up here? No
Maybe it can work.
politics.
Got to have
Maybe
faith.
it can. It used to.
And the
We know
governor
that.
showed that in his appearing. So I was pretty proud of him for going.
Listen, we got to wrap up. But anything else going on up here at the Capitol that the public
That's
should
all.
know
Nothing
about?
else going on.
Just the future of your
There's
state.
drama to be had.
There's-
So show up for drama. There's seats in every committee available. We can get you tickets, front row seats. Watch your government in action.
That's right. Yeah. By the way, I was going to say, you recently took a vacation,
I did.
much deserved. I think you were in Colorado, right?
That's right.
How did it go?
My granddaughter was born on January 1st. Only 11
Year's,
days late.
baby.
So, but that was great. And so we got to go skiing twice.
Yeah.
So that was very nice. And come back to all this. It's a dream.
You're living the dream, aren't you? Well, that's Representative Jim Abler. I'm Marty Owings. That's all we have time for tonight. Don't forget to send us a message. And again, if you send us a good question, you've got a chance to enter a contest to win a Nexus 7 tablet. More details on that on our website at mncapitalnews.com, mncapitalnews.com. You can tweet us at mncapnews. Where do you tweet at, Representative Abler?
Jim Abler, at Jim Abler. Pretty clever. We had a focus group decide what to call it. And there's a picture of my granddaughter there.
Good. Excellent. Thanks for being on tonight. All right. We'll see everybody next week. See you at the Capitol.